Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Meyer County Sheriff's Office, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, employees of Meyer County District Attorney's Office. My name is Chris Rochester. I live in Rochester, New York. In 48 hours from this Sunday, you will receive Federal Express from me. This document here. This here is a corrupt cop that you won't fire, Todd Baxter, for a simple reason. You, Todd Baxter, are a corrupt cop. YouTube share Todd Baxter, $16,000 pay raise freak, 83,291, 42 cents, Shannon Meyer. I've talked about her over and over and over. This freak cop who has me in handcuffs on my front lawn. How, Todd Baxter? Do you even know employees of the Sheriff's Office? William Tadeo, Scott Alberti, Michael Rattler, Kathleen Miller. Is it a crime to tell a man on his tractor named Steve Desmond of Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land next to where I live, and walk back into my residence where I used to live at 26 Sanders Farm Drive? I'm going to tell you what the answer is to that. It's no. This is why she's a freak cop. So, I'm walking through the parking lot for the 4,000th time next to where I live, the 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield. You can see this parking lot on Penfield Road. Drive down Penfield Road to Wegmans, Target, and Can's Pizza. You'll see it. You can walk through that parking lot without being arrested. Kathleen Miller, why is that? You're a different kind of American than me. So can everybody in your family in Monroe County. Everybody in your family, Kathleen Miller, can walk through that parking lot without being arrested, without a warrant for the arrest. That's the sick lunatic fringe because it's Shannon Meyer. So I'm walking through the parking lot, and this man named Nayraj Shah begins to scream at me. This is a 50-year-old man who lives with his 70-year-old mother at 2033 Penfield Road. I have this confrontation with him. I say, what's the problem? He is screaming at me as I walk away, and I give him the official finger of Brooklyn, New York. And in the accusatory instrument, which I'm going to show and read parts of, he doesn't tell Shannon Meyer that he provokes this confrontation with me. And the accusatory instrument reads like I went up to him and accosted him, when all I was is walking back to where I live from Gold's Gym and Fairport. And there he is losing his mind, screaming at me when people walk through this parking lot all day long, just like my excellent friend Ann will live next to me, just like Penfield High School students, just like the elderly woman across from me. There's a parade of people walking through this parking lot every day because I can see my first floor sliding glass door and my second floor bedroom window. Where's my 14th Amendment right to equal protection of laws if I'm the only American citizen for a warrant for arrest for walking through this parking lot? So this is the accusatory instrument from this freak cop, Shannon Meyer. The first sentence is a lie. On the above dated approximately 1440 HRS, I responded to the above location for the report of a male trespassing. Have I trespassed 4,000 times? Where's my 14th Amendment right to equal protection of laws? In 2019, there were fireworks at Harris Whalen Park. Before the fireworks, Penfield High School students in their band uniforms were walking through that parking lot. After the fireworks ended, 500 people in front of me walked through this parking lot. If it's a crime to walk through this parking lot, should have had 500 arrest warrants. How ludicrous and insane is that? This ludicrous and insane freak cop that Todd Baxter gave a $16,000 raise to? A piece of paper lands me in Monroe County Jail. And I'll show it to you. It's dark here. This is it. I took every sentence from this lie and responded to it. Meyer calls me. This is the most bizarre conversation I think I've ever had. Well, I'm telling her what I'm saying here. People walk through this parking lot all day long. Why are you calling me? I had to hold the phone and look away from it a number of times because the way this freak cop talks that Todd Baxter gave a $16,000 raise to. This is the end of my life as I know it. This Shannon and mine. I'm not trying to exaggerate. How I look at the truth and decency and honor and rectitude is fundamentally altered because of what began with this freak cop. Because this freak cop that Todd Baxter gave a $16,000 raise to set everything in motion to me. That's why I know the name of Michael C. Houlihan and Don Benedetto hiding on the private property of my elderly neighbor. That's why I know the name of Andrew Reale. That's why I know the name of Richard J. Seatman. Because it is freak cop. So what you're going to get It's just this one document here. And then in the next 72 hours, I'm going to send you a lot more documentation. Now, this is from February 16th here. You could have contacted me. It's my address, Christopher Rochester, 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, North 14604. Respond to me. Because I'm going to be making accusations on here that I'm also going to tell the United States Department of Justice. And every time I've been on YouTube, I'm going to have a transcript and I'm going to send it to your office. So I don't know who watches me. I only care about a few individuals at the United States Department of Justice, the United States Attorney for the Western District of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul, legislative leaders in Albany. But there's all your emails at Psychopath Incorporated. What I said about this freak cop, Shannon Meyer, I'm saying again here now. So, is it a crime to tell a man on a tractor who's riding his tractor on my front lawn that nobody owns the land and walk back my rest? Why do you think I'm outside? Because I called Timothy Murphy, Monroe County Office of Real Property Tax Service, and he can't confirm anybody owns this land. And this is what this name, Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, sent me. This doesn't prove anything. This is why I know they don't own the land. There's something wrong with these two. And I'm going to talk about orders of protection and YMCA. This is Layla Kumar Shah, when I was at the YMCA on a row machine, went up to a YMCA employee and said, I don't belong at the YMCA because orders of protection, Paul C. Metz was writing to humiliate me. This is what she's doing. I had to meet with a YMCA employee, Michael Avery, after this freak Layla Kumar Shah that went to the sheriff's office about me walking through the parking lot with her son. Told the YMCA employee I don't belong at the YMCA. It's one thing after another with you psychopaths at the sheriff's office. This obliteration of my life. This is nothing. Timothy Murphy, the Monroe County Office of Real Property, can't confirm that nobody owns this land. And Shannon Meyer doesn't know any of this, too. When I was 32 years old in 1997, I bought a house in the Albany County suburb of Gilglen. And I was there at the closing with, as I call her, the realtor just stars Gloria. She gave me a document that had a seal or an affidavit or some kind of notarization, I believe it was. She said, this is what proves you own the land next to your residence. And she went into detail telling me about the land I own next to my residence. You own homes? Because you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is common and ordinary here, what I'm talking about. And this land ownership is proven by documentation. It's not the fiction and the fantasy land in the head of Nayra Shan's mother. This is nothing here. Even if there is documentation that proves that these two freaks own the land right next to where I live, it's still not a crime to walk outside and tell a man on his tractor, nobody owns the land next to my residence, and then walk back into my residence. You are such a joke at that Jonestown of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Your own employees don't know what constitutes a criminal act. William Tadeo, tell me, $101,000 William Tadeo. Is it a crime to tell a man on his tractor that nobody owns the land next to where I live and walk back in my residence? You could contact me, William. You and your six-figure salary, because you should be able to figure out that that's not a crime. That's not criminal contempt. Second, $101,000 William Tadeo, and go and tell Todd Baxter what I'm saying here, and play this YouTube for him, and tell him to call this freak cop, Shannon Meyer, into your office and fire her repulsive ass. My friend Adam wants this happen to me. It should never happen in the United States of America to anybody. Just like what should never happen in the United States of America is the free cops, the sheriff's office that come, demand my dog. I'm not going to talk about this again because this is exhausting. I was able to adopt my little guy from Lollipop Farm Humane Society, my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley. Because when we were asked this question, have you ever been arrested? We both said no in 2012 when I was 47 years old. What do you think it says about a life at 47 years old with 2 speeding tickets that dismissed in court? And I've been in jail 6 times since. A prosecutor's never talked in court. Perry Duckles, you copied on here. What are the names of my prosecutors? Nightmare freak cop. They're all freaks at that sheriff's office. Every single one of you, including Richard J. Seaman. Richard J. Seaman's a violent freak. Shannon Meyer is just an ordinary freak. So, Richard J. Seaman, following me and stalking me. This is due process in Monroe County. I'm stalked into the Pembroke Public Library, and here's his salary right here. Richard J. Seaman, $75,904 and 40 cents. How does Todd Baxter come up with 40 cents? How does he pay his employees in cents? Because he has no sense. Two people are going to decide I'm in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. This psychopath cop, Richard J. Seatman, and Paul C. Metzler is paid $28,000. They waited for me to leave my residence at 26 Sanders Farm Drive, followed me down Penfield Road, followed me to Bed Road. The whole time they're waiting for me, Richard J. Seatman, I sit down at the library computer terminal. Seatman comes at me with the other Monroe County Sheriff Office. He begins to run in the library, holds his arm out like this, extends his arm, slams his arm at the side of my head. So it's the force of Seatman's arm hitting me in the head. I fell down and then my head hit the ceramic tile with this violent fanatic Richard J. Seatman. What do you think about what I'm saying to you, $0 Michael Brown? It doesn't matter. I don't think it does at all. They take me out of the library, frog munch me past the circulation desk where I'm thinking, I'm so glad Laura doesn't work here anymore because my ex-girlfriend is hired at the Penfield Public Library when we moved to Penfield. There's Paul C. Metzler waiting for me. Pay attention, Perry Douglas at the district attorney's office. There's nobody from the district attorney's office there to make an argument that I committed a crime. Paul C. Metzler and Richard J. Seatman decided I'm going to be in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. Should never happen in the United States of America to any citizen ever. Fire Richard J. Seatman. He won't be fired. I'm going to send registered mail return receipt to him because I'm going to write a criminal complaint about him. You know what's going to happen to Richard J. Seatman? Not only won't be fired, he won't be arrested. This is a violent attack upon me. And Richard J. Seatman knows he can attack me because he's wearing that blue ice cream man suit. He knows he's insulated from any type of crime. Just like when you followed me to Wegmans, which you're 5 vehicles and 10 employees. This is another time I'm going to be in jail where I have no due process. 5 vehicles, 10 employees. You're a female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos. Watch this violent attack. I get to the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. A psychopath Monroe County Sheriff Office employee exits the vehicle, runs at me, lowers my shoulder, drives his shoulder into the side of my hip, knocked me down, and my head slammed down on the concrete pavement outside the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. So there my head is again hitting hard surface because you psychopaths at the sheriff's office. 5 vehicles and 10 plus employees for me? You think I'm fucking Charles Manson, you psychopaths? That Monroe County Sheriff Office employee who violently attacked me, 5 vehicles, 10 witnesses, female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos, she'll say she didn't say anything. I had to get an MRI at the University of Rochester Medical Center, for which I was billed. I've said this language on here previously. So, this is what I think can at least generate rage in Monroe County, perhaps even remove Todd Baxter from office here. This is just page 1 here. Your $118,000 cops. It's all yours, cops. $118,000 Andrew M. Sorky. $116,000 Kevin M. Shuffle. Corey Rick K. Brown, $155,000. Corey K. Brown is paid $23,000 more than Todd Baxter. Paul V. Chiminelli, $121,000. Kim A. Hinckley, $121,000. Phil Gambado, $119,000. Sean LeClaire, $118,000. Peter J. Zambuto, $118,000. Michael T. Fowler, $163,000. Michael T. Fowler's paid $31,000 more than Todd Baxter. Jeffrey C. Wagner, $145,000. Jeffrey C. Wagner is paid $13,000 more than Todd Baxter. Frederick S. Bancroft, $128,000. How many of these employees I just read also receive overtime? I've been using the Freedom of Information Law to ban how you pay your employees beyond the 40th hour and how that's done. When I contact Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli, he'll say you've been refusing. It says right on the foil, the cost of overtime, time and a half, how it's done. And you're refusing every single time to disclose that information to me. I think I have it right here. I have about 500 documents in front of me. And I'm also demanding the cost of sick days for the sheriff's office and district attorney's office, and the cost of Ryan Fisher. Here it is right here. This is why the law is a joke to you. This is December 14th. Psychopaths like the color red. That's why this is in red. It says here, total cost of overtime, time and a half, allowed paid beyond base sales calculated tomorrow County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Tyke it back to December 14th. What's the answer? Those employees that I just read here, I believe that they could be perhaps $150,000 cops, even $200,000 cops. They could double their salaries with overtime. And here it is right here for the district attorney's office, December 14th. This is why, pardon the law, it's a joke to you. Total cost of overtime, time and a half hour paid beyond base salaries calculated to Monmouth County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sanders door. I don't hear anything. You have zero moral credibility in Monroe County when it comes to the law. December 14th, over and over and over, and I have been demanding this for months prior. Too. I'll show you a few others. I'll just open this up randomly here and see what this one says. The total number of sick days and total number of hours employees at Pemberton Town Court and Pemberton, New York have accumulated by total number of sick days and total number of hours. The reason why I demanded this is these fossils that are in there, John P. Lomenzo Jr., Paul C. Metro, James P. Mellon Jr., were all in the vicinity of 70. Did they cancel court because they're held? Here's another one here. Oh, yes. I just opened up this randomly. I'm going to write this again. This could be a scandal in the district attorney's office. This language says, pay attention, Perry Douglas. Pay attention, Mark Monahan. And then play this YouTube for your corrupt boss, Sandra Doyle. In fact, she's not in the hospital today. The number of complaints written or filed by defendants about attorneys or employees to the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doyle with the 4th Judicial Department Attorney Grievance Committee. I have not contacted the 4th Judicial Department Attorney Grievance Committee yet. I will. What's the answer? What are the number of complaints? I'm going to have a complaint that will possibly be 1,000 pages because it's been going to be everything I've been doing. And you're refusing to disclose the names of these hacks and sociopaths that are signed to my appearances before Paul C. Metz and John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Pemberton Town Court, and one of you hacks and sociopaths elevated me to Alex Renzi over to the hackocracy. There were 18 state Supreme Court judges. You know who it is, Public Defender Julie Sianka. You know who it is, Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips. You know who it is, Assistant Public Defender Regina Harper, and you've been refusing to tell me for 12 plus months, and that's insane. Mark Phillips, Regina Harper, Julie Sianka, contact me at my Park Avenue address. I will say it again, and tell me the names of my prosecutors, because I will pursue disbarment with each at the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court. So, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, Regina Harper, this is information you have in your office. You have it. Quote, the prosecutor's not backing down. That's what you said to me, Regina Harper, about the 5'2" 3-piece suit boy that has my concocted fiction and lies before $28,000 bald-headed Paul C. Metzler. Christopher Childs, 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, 14604. There's email after email from me to you about this too. And you're refusing. Either to you directly or you're copied where I'm telling the district attorney's office to disclose the names of mine. Prosecutor's silence. This is a loft I lived in. I lived next to the transit center I moved. This is the Freedom of Information. I think there are 3,000 documents on that floor. That's not everything either. You didn't comply with anything here. Over and over and over, with these documents right here, is the foil where it says to disclose the names of my prosecutors of silence. This is on January 26, 2023. That's in your office. Where it says YouTube fanaticism from Sheriff Todd, Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, YouTube perjurer, $73,000, Michael C. Houlihan, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. Houlihan and Benedetto waited on the private property of my neighbor at midnight 2 years ago. I exit my residence and walk alongside my residence. Houlihan and Benedetto come running at me. I never stopped running. When I turned around and run away, in a darkened night, you, Todd Baxter, you sent $73,000 psychopath Michael Houlihan and $85,000 psychopath Don Benedetto to hide and hibernate in the private property of my neighbor. I never stopped running when these two came running at me. And when I get to the back porch with them running after me, I grab a hammer next to my bike. I place my foot on the first of 3 steps to run through the sliding glass door. Michael C. Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up. I pull away to run through the sliding glass door and never stop running. This psychopath cop, Michael C. Houlihan, went back to the Jonestown the sheriff's office and said I swung a hammer on him when the body camera footage shows I ran the whole time. The only way I could swing a hammer at psychopath cop Michael Houlihan is if I stopped and pivoted on my right foot, and since I'm right-handed, to swing the hammer at Houlihan. This is why people hate the police, because of Kool-Aid drinkers like this Houlihan hack. I was in jail for that too. I was in Livingston County Jail for the fiction, the fantasy land of Michael Houlihan's head. Rejection, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi. It's called rejection because you're rejecting disclosure of names on prosecutors of silence. Accountability, Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi. I will go with language that's just basic and easy to understand, and then I'll go with inflammatory language. This is basic and easy to understand accountability because I'm your accountability. Tell me the names of my prosecutors, and tell me if you've used taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits and failed to comply the Title VII, the Civil Rights Act. So, this psychopath cop, Shannon Meyer, corruption requires repetition here. This is what's coming. It's going to be a simple document. Pay raise freak. If you watch me talk about her like I am now, and I've talked about her here where it says several times Baxter's pay raise freak, she should immediately be fired. And she won't be. Todd Baxter, this is what's going to happen. Here's the FedEx receipt to Todd Baxter, Scott O'Brody, Panorama Trail, Captain Christopher Fay, Calkins Road in Rochester, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Trini Ross, the United States Attorney, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, Paula Metzler, and Jansen McNair. So that's who's getting this one document right here. And every single one of those individuals I mentioned, it's not going to matter if this is a psychopath cop, that this is a corrupt cop who should be fired immediately. She should never get her 20. So this is what you're going to receive from me in the next 48 to 72 hours. I will, in all likelihood, send this registered mail return receipt. FedEx, I don't get a card that comes back to me. But this is a 28-page document. So I just had this printed. And I changed my emails. I only use the email once, but I use Gmail. This is Christopher.Chichester24 Gmail. I created it. I used it once so you can't block me. Mail the names of my prosecutor, Sonsi, address, Ball, Rochester, New York. Read the 6 attached PDF document. Answer me about sexual harassment in the office. So you got that on Friday, April 14th, 9:59 p.m. here. I'm telling you, it's as clear as it possibly can be. Mail the names of my prosecutor, Sonsi, address, listed below in Rochester. And I'm not going to receive anything from you psychopaths at the attorney's office. This is called disorder here. This date here is April 13, 2023, 11:47 a.m. Mail the names of my prosecutor, Sonsi, address, listed below in Rochester, New York. Read these 6 attached PDF documentation. Answer me about sexual harassment officers resign. With the other links here. Disordered sexual harassment, degenerates, court order, law rivalry, refusal, corruption, fanaticism, Pemberton Town Court, $28,000. We'll see on that, sir. My ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, is another link attached to this one. She took all my things from the storage locker. Everything else was gone. She's refusing to tell me the facts and circumstances of my illegal eviction. It's illegal, you hacks and sociopaths at the district attorney's office, because there is no court order. And Antonino Spano, Fairport, New York, an 80-year-old man, did this to me. When I write the criminal complaint about this 80-year-old man, Antonino Spano, locking me out, taking everything I own to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. Court order locked me out. There is none. Court order to remove things from my residence. There is none. That's what the Tenant Defense Project told me in Rochester. 80-year-old Antonino Spano won't be arrested by you psychopaths at the sheriff's office because he's 80 years old. And he won't be prosecuted by you psychopaths at the district attorney's office because he's 80 years old. That's what you're going to conclude. And that's insane. So, sexual harassment. I talked about that in detail, and you're going to refuse to answer. And attached to this is my long letter to Alice Calabrese, President, Chief Executive Officer of Lollipop Farm Humane Society. I'm in my residence to man my little guy. I think that was 4,000 or 5,000 words from Alex Calabrese to Alex Calabrese to me. What I'm telling her, this is what I'm telling her, what you've done. This is me to Alex Calabrese, Lollipop Farm Humane Society, where if I go back to another dog industry society, when I move back to Auburn, you know what's going to happen? I will not be able to adopt a dog because they'll be able to do a background check on me. See that I've been in jail 6 times. And the answer I gave in 2012, you haven't been arrested when I was 47 years old? I said, no, I'll have to say yes, and they'll turn me down. I won't be able to adopt a dog. This is what you're doing to my life, you hacks and sociopaths. Degenerates, this is why you're degenerates. Destroy my life like this. Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi, April 8th. Mail the names of my prosecutor, Sonsi, address below in Rochester, New York, 6 attached PDF documentation. Resign. And you refused. This is why the law's a joke to you. When you demand information at the district attorney's office and sheriff's office, you better receive information. When a citizen demands this information from you, you pick and choose what's not going to embarrass and humiliate you. So this is in the documentation I'm going to send you. Rent at Jason Tracy Consumer Credit Counseling Service, Rochester, New York. I'm not going to go into the details of that. That's self-explanatory. Refusal, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Lee, Judge Alex Renzi. Refusal because you're refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors. Mail the names of my prosecutors, the address was Rochester. Read the 6 attached PDF documentation. Resign, April 7th. Here is your email here. I'm going to look for the district attorney's employee emails here. So, here is Michelle Crowley. who convenes the grand jury when I don't know it's convened. Isn't that right, Michelle Crowley? Why didn't you call me to the grand jury? I've been on here, I put your name on YouTube too. How is that explained? You want me to be your personal ham sandwich. Is there a transcript to that grand jury that indicted me when Michael C. Houlihan purged himself? Is it? Where was the grand jury convened? How many grand jurors were there? Is it 1824? How did you pick these idiots that you want them to be? Idiots, Michelle Crowley. You want these 18 to 24 residents of Monroe County to be the dumbest human beings in Monroe County, and that's how easy it is to indict a citizen, as Donald Trump found out. These dumbest citizens of Manhattan, New York, indicted him. So, refused. Corruption and fanaticism. This bald-headed widow, corruption and fanaticism. On Penfield Court, $28,000 policy limits, and once had total control of my life. When I'm in Livingston County, Genesee, when I'm languishing there, I kept saying, how long am I going to be there? And that's when Regina Harper, the public defender's office, told me, quote, the judge is holding you. How is that possibly constitutional, Regina? How is that possibly constitutional, public defender Julie Sianka? And nobody's telling me what my sentence is. One bald-headed widow, one psychopath in a little room in Penfield Town Court has me violently attacked, deposited in the jail in a county I don't live in, and then she's holding me there? There's an Office of Court Administration in Albany that I'm going to contact. And I'm also going to contact the Court of Appeals, too, to find out about the ethics for judges in New York State. Because these judges I've been in front of, Paul C. Metzer, John P. Menzel, Jr., Alex Renzi, have no ethics. Ludicrous Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Judge Alex Renzi, this is April 5th. Mail the names on prosecutor's office and the address is in Rochester, New York. Read the 6 attached PDF documents. Resign. I understand if you blow me off on email. I get that. This arrives in your office. Either UPS, registered mail, return receipt, or FedEx. You have it. The hard copy's there. Over and over and over. You will never know you're corrupt. To this day, 15 years later, after you resigned in disgrace in 2008, and I was there in Albany that day, Elliot Spitzer does not know he's corrupt. You will never know you're corrupt. Todd Baxter, you will never know you're corrupt. Sandra Dorn, neither will your employees either. Doesn't matter to you, Todd Baxter. Richard J.C. was a violent fanatic. You will not fire him. And I'm going to be on here again soon, in the next 7 days, about double jeopardy in Penfield Road. You arrested me twice for Michael C. Houlihan's fiction and fantasy. Silence of Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka. I sent this to you on April 2nd. Public Defender Julie Sianka. Mail the names on prosecutor's the address list of Rochester, New York. Read the 10 attached PDFs. Documents signed. Christopher Charges, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. I'm not asking this rhetorically. Julie Sianka, how did you possibly look at this with information you have at the public defender's office, the names of my prosecutors, and refuse? That's corruption. Answer me, Julie Sianka. I'm going to say this again. How do you possibly look at this? If you looked at it, you could blow it off. If you looked at it, how do you possibly refuse to disclose these names? Because you're corrupt, that's why. And you're sending my mail back to me along with Mark Phillips and Regina Harper. I'm not asking you for the internal operations of the public defender's office. I'm asking you for names that you have. It is really nauseating to me. I do get nauseous. When I think about the public defender's office, and you, Julie Sianka, and you, Mark Phillips, and you, Regina Harper, I do get nauseous. I feel it overcoming me. Because I once had respect for you. And it's slowly evaporated. So, this is delivering me to jail. The violence of the sheriff's office is accompanying at the Penfield Public Library. Richard J. Psychopath. How does this happen to anybody? Silence and violence. I have never in my long life, and total separation from morality and goodness and decency, that is you with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter, and you with the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Dorley. Abuse of power. April 1. Mail the names of my prosecutor's signs, list of below Rochester, and read the attached PDF documentation. Resign. The district attorney that refused to disclose the name of a prosecutor in public proceeding must resign. Identification is as simple as it gets. Read the attached PDFs, March 30th. Mail the names of my prosecutor's signs, the address listed below. Resign. So, insane. I use that word over and over. Insane not to disclose the names of prosecutors in public proceeding. Isn't that right? Perry Douglas, do you agree with that? Perry Douglas, Deputy District Attorney of Monroe County. Do you agree it's insane for a district attorney anywhere in the United States of America to refuse to disclose the names of a citizen in public proceeding? That's a prosecutor. The answer is yes. So, City of Freaks. Rochester, New York is a city of freaks. Do you know why Rochester, New York is a city of freaks? You will never know. I have been all over the city, and I could talk for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours about why this is a city of freaks. Albany, New York is not like this. Washington, D.C. is not like this. I lived for 5 years in Washington, D.C., U.S. House, U.S. Senate staffer. 5 years of the 10 years I lived in Albany County. I lived in the city at 157 Winthrop Avenue, which is right next to Washington Avenue between State University, New York, and Albany and the Capitol. I have never seen the type of sickness in a human being in Rochester, New York that I presently see every day. City of Freaks. So this is going to come. This is not arrived yet. I'm going to take this YouTube. I'm going to put it on top of this here. It's about a 27-page document. I think it's 27 pages. So, January 16, 2023, this photographs why you're fanatic, this photographs why you're extremist, this photographs why you're a liar, this photographs why you're naming your $67,000 disgusting act Shannon line, this photographs why people hate the police. Buy it, fix it for me, the taxpayer dollars is private technology, or not, or what? That's called a surveillance device, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. So, this is UPS here. This is on, yeah, that's the April 3rd here. You just are refusing every single time to disclose information to me that you're legally obligated to disclose. And that's an abomination. I never thought that I would encounter in my long life. So, this the district attorney's office payroll. Who is it, Perry Duckles? Tell me who it is. I will repeat myself. Here, is it $70,000 Martin P. McCarthy? Is he my prosecutor or not? Who is it? What I don't have a copy of my DD 214 on the original because of Antino Spano, Mac's girlfriend, Laura Riley, the victim. My original DD 214 was in my 1980 Mercury Capri when I drove home from 2nd Squad of 17 Cavalry 101st Airborne Division on April 14, 1988. This is a copy I had to get from the Department of Defense or the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, one or the other. This is what you're doing to me. I'm going to go into detail. I'm going to write this down about everything I don't have because of Antonino Spano, my 80-year-old disgusting, sickening, degenerate landlord who I hope burns in hell, locking doors and locking me out, along with the assistance of my ex-girlfriend who's refusing to tell me the facts and circumstances of what happened to me. So I'm going to show you a different foil here. This is what you're going to get, I hope, 3 times in the next week to 10 days here. Now, this is from December 22nd. I'm going to update this with the current date here. And you're going to refuse. It's so simple to disclose this. I'm going to tell you how this works. I fill this out in the Freedom of Information Law. It's going to have the current date. This is what it's going to say. The documentation for the case of Christopher Chase for John what is in the prosecutor's hand, Joy? Then Sandra Joy looks at this, the Freedom of Information Law. Well, I'm demanding she disclose the name of the prosecutor. Then she contacts me at 620 Park Avenue, Rochester, New York, PMB number 361, and Sandra Joy discloses the name of this prosecutor before John P. Manzo Jr. It's that simple. So then the next foil that she's going to look at, with the same date, December 22nd, I'll update with the present date. This is how it works, Perry Douglas, the district attorney's office. Sandra Joy looks at the foil where this is what it's going to say. The documentation for the case for Christopher Chase for Paul C. Metzer, for what is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra. Then Sandra contacts me either with the email on here, cchichester@jul4@gmail.com, or 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York. And then Sandra Doyle discloses the names of this boy who's before Paul C. Metzer. And then the third one, this is the way it works, Perry Douglas, with the Freedom of Information Law. You see, it says right up here, Perry, Freedom of Information Law. I'm demanding information that you have. So Sandra Doyle looks at this, that I'm going to write with an updated date that she already has on December 22nd. And this is what it's going to say. The documentation for the case of Christopher Chester in New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi, what's the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doyle. And then Sandra Doyle finds out who this hack and sociopath is. And then emails it to me, cchester@jul4@gmail.com, or 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, 14604. You see how disclosure of information happens with a prosecutor assigned to the court appearance of a defendant. Do you understand how that works? $113,000 Barry Duckles? The answer is no, because you're corrupt. I understand the gravity of calling a human being corrupt, especially a deputy district attorney. I contacted you on January 1 demanding this. January, February, March, more than 100 days ago, and you still refused. And that's insane. You will hear from me relentlessly, demanding you disclose at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office of Sandra Dawley the names of my prosecutors of silence, and you will refuse every single time because you're corrupt.